Good morning, Gremolinos. I have tried my best to match this entire outfit today. But hi, if you're new here, or, if you just want to know who I am, it's me, Catherine, your favorite asthmatic, mostly 10-fingered, chaos reader. And I feel like this vlog is truly going to encapsulate how chaotic I am as a reader, just in general. Oh gosh, there's a dog hair. There's dog hair on the side of my mouth. Because of course there was. It might have been cat hair. Who knows? It was on my coffee mug. But I have my Luke's mug. Doo-doo. I am wearing this shirt I got for free over Mother's Day weekend from my local Dunkin'. And I'm wearing my cozy, it's a Doctor Who cardigan technically, but it matches so many things. Do not ask me questions about Doctor Who. I'm woefully behind. I used to be very in it, but I'm not. Just if you recognize the pattern, it is Doctor Who. Just please don't ask me questions. I'm many seasons behind at this point. But I'm going to take a sip of this coffee and then we'll get into what this vlog is. Alright, so this is kind of, I want to say new releases that predominantly this will be new releases that I am very excited about. Predominantly. I may be throwing in a backlist book as a workday audiobook, but I haven't decided yet. So know that there will be 2 new releases, possibly a backlist book. And also, we are doing something tonight. I am going to surprise you, so just get ready for excitement. But we're doing something later tonight that I'm going to talk to you about. But not right now. I will get into that later. I am going to tell you what the first book is, because I have some time before work, and I am going to read a little bit while I drink my coffee. Oh, also, I am wearing a Supernatural necklace that I've had for 10 years? Is it 10 years? Oh god. So I bought this ages ago. Again, I think maybe 10 years ago. Because I was watching Supernatural for the first time and I was very excited. Dean is my favorite character. And so I was so excited. And I bought this, I'm pretty sure off of a sketchy seller online. I'm very sure. It's not like the world's greatest replica, but it is fun and delightful. And I decided to wear it today because I found it and I was very proud of myself. But first book in this video is going to be The Daisy Chain Flower Shop. Ta-da! This is the newest Dream Harbor release, and I actually was wildly excited for this book. You may know that I don't read a ton of straight romance. If you're new here, you won't know that, but I typically read I read a lot of sapphic romance. I read some Achillean romance. I typically read more sapphic, but I do have some videos that are very Achillean romance focused. And then in June, I'll be reading a ton of, all kinds of, I'm gonna call it rainbow romance right now because it's just all over the place. I read a lot of romance in June, but I really wanted to read the Dream Harbor series because I got very into Gilmore Girls with my wife, and they kept saying, oh, it's like Gilmore Girls, it's like Gilmore Girls. So she got me all the books that had come out so far. And I did a reading vlog, 2 reading vlogs back to back, where I read books 1 through 5, right? 5, yes. And when this one came out, I was like, I have to read it. I have to know. Because this character, Daisy, is introduced in the gingerbread bakery book because there's a wedding and she's doing the flowers for the wedding in that book. So this follows Daisy and Elliot. Elliot is also introduced pretty early in that book too. They're both introduced at that wedding from what I remember. And all I know is that I've seen that there's fake dating. And then Daisy believes that she is cursed in love. So I'm very curious. Also, there's a puppy. I know there's a puppy. It's right there. There's normally some kind of cute little fuzzy somebody in these. So I'm very excited to read this. It has also been announced officially that next year, and her other book. So next year there is another book coming out. It's the ice cream shop one. I can't remember the name of it right now, but they just announced it because it was actually only released in not the United States, in a specific country, and they have now officially announced that it will be releasing broadly next year. So I'm looking forward to that too. And in September, Miss Laurie Gilmore has another series coming out set in Maple Hollow and it will involve like a Red Riding Hood retelling. I don't know if she's verging into like another series with that one. I am curious because I really like the queer series that I'm gonna forget the name of. It starts with Pumpkin Spice and Poltergeist. I really like that series, and I'm wondering if she's gonna do like a version of that. But I'm excited to read this. I'm gonna read a little before work and fill you in during my lunch break, and then yeah, I'm gonna be running out the door after work, so I will use the lunch break to also tell you what we're doing after work. But I want to like prep for my day and all that, and I don't want to get into the ins and outs of the after work plans as of yet. So I'm gonna drink coffee. It's over here. I desperately need coffee. I'm very excited that it matches the Duncan shirt, actually. I have another mug that also matches it, but I wanted to go with this one, the Luke's mug, because I exclusively use this mug in my Dream Harbor vlog, because, you know, you have to. But that was a long intro, Gremlin knows. So I am going to go. I will talk to you when I have an update. Hello, Gremlinos. Oh, this moved. I was gonna fix this. I fixed it earlier. Anyway. It is the end of my lunch break. Krista surprised me with Taco Bell. I didn't know she was gonna go grab lunch, and she was like, did you want something? And I was like, Taco Bell, I want Taco Bell. So I had Taco Bell. I actually have leftovers because the current $9 box is massive. So just for your own personal Taco Bell news, the $9 box right now has a full-size Crunch Wrap in it, I think it's a cheesy bean and rice burrito, I think. I didn't eat that today yet. A Doritos Locos Taco, and it's either cinnamon twist or chips and cheese. I always sub chips and cheese for the cinnamon twists, so I'm not sure. But if you sub, you only pay 50 cents. So yeah, it's a big box. I just wanted to have, one, I wanted Taco Bell, but I wanted a lot of food in my system. And it's a good deal. Like, the box is a very good deal right now. So even though I didn't eat the burrito, I can eat it later. I can eat it tomorrow. And the reason I wanted to have a lot of food in my system is right after work today, Krista and I are getting tattoos. So this was scheduled. Yeah, we scheduled it last week. And I just didn't mention it. So we had, well in advance of like anything officially happening with Chloe, talked about getting like a Chloe themed tattoo, like a memorial tattoo or like a celebration of Chloe tattoo, either or, because we were debating about when to get them. And I had initially said when the weather was like cooler, like after the summer, but with everything that happened, we wanted to get them sooner, because if you didn't know, we kind of unexpectedly lost Chloe, yeah, I guess last month. But yeah, so that happened and kind of like spurred us into getting them sooner. We are each getting a smallish tattoo. They're not huge. But we scheduled the appointment last week. We were hoping to get them done over Mother's Day weekend, but there was only one person working in the shop and he was like, I am completely booked. Sorry. And so they had like a cancellation. So they bumped us into the 13th, which is today. And then just like after work, they were like, oh, when do you want to come in? What would work? So that's what we're doing. But I'm not really going to get into the details of the tattoos because I just kind of like want to show them to you. But we are getting completely different tattoos. Like, she had an idea for hers. I had a very different idea for mine. And you'll just see them. I'm going to bring my camera. I am. Presumably there won't really be anyone else in the shop. If there is, I just won't film them. And worst case, I'll film in the car once we leave. So they might have like, wrap on them. I am getting it done on this arm that has no tattoos. And Krista is doing the same thing. She's getting it on her, this arm, because she doesn't have a tattoo on this one, and that's where my tattoos currently are. The reason, so the one we're going to, I'm gonna like hold it like this, is Sword in the Stone, and they are the tattoo shop I went to in a vlog a little while ago. They did a fundraiser for the anniversary of our library where you could get like book themed tattoos, and it was like a big flash event. And that's where I got my book tattoo. And I was like, I like the book tattoo. I will say the tattoo I'm getting, I basically was like, could you kind of mirror what I already have? Can't super see it and I don't want to move my camera. Like mirror this kind of layout, but over here. So it'll be like the same shape, and there's also going to be some text. But I'll show it to you after the fact. But yeah, so we're getting tattoos, and I want to make sure I had a lot of food in my system. and that I have plenty of like fluids. So I'm trying to stay as hydrated as possible, even though I drink a ton of coffee. But I'm just gonna do my best to go in like in the best possible way. I only have the 2 tattoos, so I'm hoping it's about as easy as the last one was. But yeah, so that's what we're doing. I also have a book update for you. So I was able to read till chapter 14. So I'm like 125 pages in of Daisy Chain Flower Shop. This is very cute so far. I do want to use my hand, so I'm going to put it down. So the book actually very immediately starts with the fake dating trope. We do learn that Daisy, who runs the flower shop, it's a family name. So the entire family line going back pretty far, all the women are named Daisy. And she has taken over the flower shop, but while she loves / likes being in Dream Harbor, she kind of feels like this is a setback. She, as it turns out, has 2 relationships that did not go to plan. She was married very young. So she has an ex-husband, and she also has an ex-fiance. And her ex-fiance has showed up in town because his new fiance, they've only been broken up for like a year, wants to look at wedding venues in Dream Harbor. And so she is kind of like, what? Why are you here? Why are you here with her? And it just so happens that Elliot, who is the architect for the local inn, he's working on a big renovation project. He is there, and Daisy basically is like, yeah, I've totally moved on, definitely moved on, meet my boyfriend Elliot. And Elliot's like, yes, I am indeed Daisy's boyfriend, just kind of goes with it. We also learn that Elliot is kind of unlucky in love too. He mentions he hasn't really dated really at all. He did get married. He actually is divorced. He had been married for 5 years, and then his wife kind of was like, I don't think this is working. I would like to end things, basically. So the relationship has ended. And what's sad is she kept the house and the dog. So like he's basically started over. He's been living in Dream Harbor for about 1.5 years working on this big project. But we do learn that he had a very successful renovation business with his brother. And he kind of left that. Like his brother is just dealing with renovation business on his own, which is going fine, but also like he just like kind of left him in the lurch because he just needed to leave. Like he was like, I had to go. So we have 2 people who are pretty much unlucky in love, fake dating. A handful of people know that they're fake dating. So Iris from the Strawberry Pancake Shop book, she is Daisy's like best friend, and she is aware, which also means that her husband, they're not married yet? Are they married? I can't remember. Person, her significant other, because I don't remember. I really can't remember offhand. I don't think they're actually married yet. Not that it matters, but I just can't remember if they did like a town hall thing or something, but doesn't really matter. Also now my body's like, you have to burp, because you had a lot of soda and Taco Bell. But Iris knows, Iris's significant other Archer knows, and Elliot's friend, who's basically like his only friend in town, Jake, who is kind of like the catch-all person at the inn. He's the front desk. He kind of seems to be holding the inn together. So I would give him sort of a, oh gosh, why am I having such a hard time remembering his name right now? Oh my gosh. The French guy in Gilmore Girls. Catherine, come on. This is gonna drive me crazy. Oh my gosh, why can't I remember his name? Why is this happening? Oh my gosh. You're just gonna be with me while I'm like, what's his name? You know, we're gonna look it up because it's gonna bug me. You know who I'm talking about. I'm so sure everyone and their mother knows who I'm talking about. And it's probably gonna come to me as soon as I type it in. Oh, my stomach is gurgling. Sorry if you can hear that. Michelle! Jeez, I knew it. Michelle. He's kind of like the Michelle of the place. Like, he does a lot of things. And I say the Michelle instead of the Lorelai because he doesn't own the place. But Jake also has a thing for Gabe, the, like, the repairman around the inn, which is very cute. And I will say, this is the first, like, gay dating crush relationship that has been introduced. Now, I will say the book club, very gay in Dream Harbor. And the mayor's gay. Yeah, the mayor's gay. And there are like gay characters throughout, but I feel like this is the first time we've had a character who is like that close to the main character. So I'm curious if we're gonna get both, like we're gonna get that like fed in as a subplot, because I am so very sure that relationship isn't getting its own book. But I am very intrigued. So I'm enjoying that as an aside. But yeah, I am enjoying it so far. At some point there's gonna be a puppy. Like there's a puppy on the front of this book. There's a puppy in all of the stuff. So at some point there will be a puppy. And because I've said puppy 80 times, Bruni is barking. But that's what I have so far on that. I am enjoying it. I always enjoy them. They're a quick read. It is very Gilmore Girls-y. There's been a lot of like emotion and dealing with lost love feelings, but there are definitely sparks for sure. There are like almost immediate sparks between Elliot and Daisy. So I am enjoying it, but I need to go. My lunch break is about to end. Bruni is barking, so I should see if we got mail. And I will talk to you, Gremolinos, later tonight at or after the tattoo parlor. I don't know yet, but talk to you later. Hello, sorry, I know I said I wasn't gonna talk to you for a while, but I totally just realized that I think I called the like front desk in person Jake, and his name's Jack. His name is Jack. He's actually been mentioned in other books, and I just blinked. So that's a brief correction. His name is Jack, not Jake. Also, I won't be spoiling the whole book. This is just like a setup of things in the book so far, because I just want to include shout outs for queer characters in straight romance series, because I think they're very helpful. Also, my necklace is doing a weird thing, but I just wanted to throw that in there. I'm not going to be spoiling it. I'm just going to like give you some highlights, some thoughts. But yeah, going away now because I need to, but I realized I said his name wrong and I was like, ah, shoot. Okay, talk to you later. Hello, Gremolinos. Please enjoy the aesthetic rain sounds. It is thunderstorming. Well, it was. It's now not thunderstorming. It's still raining though. I am here. I am not tattooed. I also didn't like show the shop or anything. Krista is tattooed though, so fun little story time. I was taking antibiotics and I took a dose this morning, and you can't get tattooed on antibiotics, and I'm a dope. I vaguely remembered that, and then we showed up and I was like, wait, and Krista was like, she took an antibiotic pill this morning, and the guy was like, yeah, I can't tattoo you today, but he had a cancellation on Friday, so we were going back on Friday for my tattoo, but Krista got hers done, so when she gets back in the car, I'll have her show it to you. It is wrapped, so there's like a second skin on it, so it's covered, even though it doesn't look super covered, but I can talk to you about the Daisy Chain Flower Shop, because I finished it. Look at that. So this one, I will say, sorry, my sleeve is bugging me. There we go. This one is not very steamy overall. At the midway point, there is a brief scene, much briefer than in most of the books. And then we don't really get anything else until very, very near the end. So if you care on spice level, this one is probably the least spice specific. And I think that is because a lot of this is a reluctant in love sort of situation. Both Elliot and Daisy are very, very leery about getting into a relationship. Now they are fake dating and they are falling for each other, but the issue is Daisy is very sure Elliot doesn't want to date or doesn't feel ready to date. And while Elliot does think that he is questioning it. And then Daisy is consistently kind of pushing back that like, oh, I really shouldn't be with anyone. There's even a scene where both of her exes arrive and she's like, oh, good Lord. So like Daisy is really kind of the linchpin for why the relationship doesn't progress as quickly, which is not a bad thing. She just doesn't want to cause Elliot to repeat patterns, and she also does not want to get into a relationship that she thinks is doomed. So it is a lot of Daisy being very like, are we really, like, do we want to do this? Like, what if we break up? Like, it could be even worse. So it is a lot of Daisy being like, no, I don't know that we should do this. But they're very cute. There's also a historical element that comes in, which involves a Daisy who is an aunt to the line of daisies. Oh, Krista's back. And that's very fun and very cute and very faded seeming. Oh gosh. So it was very, very fun. I very much enjoyed it. There are a lot of pop-ins from other characters. Iris and Archer specifically from Strawberry Pancake show up a lot because Iris is Daisy's best friend. Also, we did get the puppy. We go to the pet store, and the pet store does actually a lot of like pet adoption events. So the puppy is a rescue puppy that was found abandoned under a truck, and her name is Goldie, and she's the runt, which is adorable. Oh, I gotta put my seatbelt on. Ooh, hold on. We're back with AC. We're driving. Krista got gas. So yeah, so Iris shows up the most, and then yeah, Goldie is adorable. Goldie did remind me of Kira. Not Kira from A Christmas Tree Shop. Kira's in this too. My Kira with a Q and not a K, because she's the runt of the litter and is very sleepy at first and then turns into a total chaos demon, i.e. my Kira. So, hope that made sense. But yeah, it was a fun time. They do introduce what I'm very sure is going to be another love interest setup. I'm not gonna say who because it kind of spoils part of the plot, but that does get teased, and one of them is a vet. I will say one is a vet. And then also we got more of Jack and Gabe, which I was very appreciative of. So love the gayness being included in this. And we got a Beltane ceremony, very cool. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It covers spring and summer, so it kind of fits for the season. It actually is set around like the time of reading it for the most part. You ran that light, buddy. But yeah, so I did very much enjoy this one. It was super cute. I'm actually debating about rereading some of these this year, like reading them in their season, even if it's out of order, because there is a buzzword prompt that would fit for cinnamon roll, I think. I'd have to see. But yeah, so I might do that. I haven't decided officially, but definitely enjoyed it. Did not expect to finish it this soon. So I do think I'm gonna start that audiobook tomorrow. I'm gonna keep you in suspense a little about the audiobook, because I will pull it up and show it to you and all that stuff.
Hi, Kumalinos. How you doing, Kumalinos?
But when we stop, oh, that light is not working and there's a cop. I'm gonna turn you off. I'll talk to you later. Hold on. Hello, I'm back. You're only gonna see my face for a sec because I'm gonna have Krista show you her tattoo before I go out into the rain. So yes, I will reiterate, did enjoy Daisy Chain Flower Shop. It's a very quick read. The love interests are cute. But let's get to that tattoo. So I can angle, but ta-da! It's very cute. It's Chloe's profile and a little heart. And it's only really red because she literally just got it done like 20 minutes ago. But that's hers. You won't get to see mine until Friday, but it's very cute. We're gonna head inside. So talk to you later, Gremlinos. Hello, Gremlinos. It is Thursday. I have coffee, which you saw me make, in my Joffrey's mug. I'm gonna take a sip real quick. And I have pulled out my coffee weather sweatshirt. It is pretty chilly today, but my office is kind of warm, so this felt like a nice compromise. Plus, I'm gonna be really busy today, but busy in a way that means I can also listen to an audiobook. So this is perfect. So to explain the audiobook to you, this is a backlist book. So the reason I'm reading this particular audiobook, yes, I'm gonna keep that as it is, because technically audiobooks count as reading. Technically sounds weird. It just, they count as reading. If you have an audiobook on, you read the book. Anyway, back earlier this year, yes, Krista and Chloe actually got me Get Over It, April Evans, and I really enjoyed this. I read the whole thing, but this is actually the second book in Ashley Herring Blake's, oh, what is the name of the series? It's her other series. Does it say? Come on, you're gonna tell me? No, it doesn't say what the series is. Hold on. No, it doesn't. Oh shoot. This is her other one. Why can't I remember what these ones are? So anyway, this one actually has to do with tattoos, so it would have been perfectly themed for this week. But I've already read this one, very much enjoyed it. So I will attempt to remember what the series is called and tell you later. But this, again, is the second one. The first one is called Dream On, Ramona Riley, and I actually have the audiobook for it. I've had it for a while, and it was just announced that the new book in the, it's a trilogy, like the other set of books, the Delilah Green, Iris Kelly, and Ashford Parker books. This is also a trilogy, and the third one comes out in September. So I was like, oh, I should knock that out. And since I just did a romance, I thought I would do another romance to follow it up. So I'll be listening to Dream On, Ramona Riley. Could not tell you the premise of the book right now. Really could not. I don't know. And because it's an audiobook, I did not click the like explanation of the book at all. So I'm actually gonna get that started and get to work. So it's still early, but I have to do extra stuff today, so I'm just gonna start my day for work early. But yeah, so the book will be Dream on Ramona Riley. I will give you thoughts on it when I'm a little ways in, and I'm also gonna look up the name of that series. The cat just did something because my floor shook. I think Binks jumped off of something. But I'll also look up the name of the trilogy because I cannot remember. So Dream on Ramona Riley will be the next book. And then we're going to go on a stark departure after that from the romance genre, and it will still be in this video. So you'll understand why when we get there. But to Dream on Ramona Riley and my kind of busy work day. Well, actually my very busy work day. I'm kind of downplaying it a little.
Presents Dream on Ramona Riley by Ashley Herring Blake. Read for you by Gail Shannon.
Hello, Gremlinos. I'm about to go to lunch, so I'll just awkwardly... We're talking about Dream on Ramona Riley. Can you see this? Sort of. Kind of. Ish. There you go. It's gonna take a sec. There we are. So I am a little ways in. I'm on chapter 15 now. So I want to give you thoughts, a little bit of an explanation. So much like most of Ashley Herring Blake's books, this is a dual perspective. So we're getting Ramona's perspective and we're getting Dylan's perspective. Ramona lives in Clover Lake. That's the name of the series. She is a waitress and she has been in Clover Lake basically her entire life. Her mom left when she was young, kind of put her in charge of raising her sister Olive, who was very little at the time. And then her dad broke his leg when she was a freshman in college, so she just came home and she's never left since. She always wanted to go into like costume design and she had gone to school for that, but because she had to come home, she never got to achieve that dream. So a lot of the focus of this is Ramona's dream. Her friend April Evans, who gets the next book, which I've already read, is very focused on like, you need to use anything to your advantage to get in with the costuming people on the show, or this movie. There is a queer rom-com filming, or sapphic rom-com, I guess technically, filming in Clover Lake that is inspired by a book by Iris Kelly from the other series that I can't remember the name of. I suck at remembering series names. But Iris Kelly wrote the book, and so this is all happening here, and Dylan is playing one of the leads. Dylan, though, has had a really hard time getting acting jobs where she's not like a villain. She got very popular in this like Spellbound series where she was the primary villain, and she also really did a lot of work as like a troubled teen, a troubled adult, all kinds of stuff like that, because her parents are very famous musicians who kind of gave her a really tumultuous upbringing. She never really had stability. She had an aunt who occasionally took care of her, but like really it was just like living with her parents who weren't very structured and were having their own substance abuse issues on top of all of that. So her life was difficult. On top of that, there is a plot happening where we're getting some teases of the past because Ramona and Dylan have met before. Ramona and Dylan knew each other as Cherry and Lolly the summer after 9th grade. They were both about 13 and they met in Clover Lake. It was Dylan's idea as a kid to not tell her her name. So she actually picked Cherry because Ramona was wearing a cherry shirt, and then Ramona picked Lolly because, technically Lollipop, because Dylan was licking a lollipop at the time. The two of them kind of had this like magical little bit of time over the summer, but they never saw each other after. Now, the issue here is that Ramona did remember who Dylan was, and she recognized her and immediately was like, oh my god, that was Dylan. The problem is Dylan didn't remember what Ramona looked like. So she has thought of this time so often, but she couldn't remember the face of the girl. And the other problem is, we do learn this, Ramona doesn't actually look like young Ramona. Young Ramona was skinny with like super straight hair, and adult Ramona is actually, she does specifically identify herself as fat, and she has very curly hair. So she looks very different. She even notes she doesn't look like herself as a child. So Dylan is kind of coming in at a disadvantage because she doesn't know that the Cherry she met, whose face she already is having issues remembering, looks so much different. The two are kind of thrown together because Dylan has to play a waitress in this movie, and Ramona has been a waitress at the Clover Moon Diner forever. So she is training Dylan, and then the two of them sort of fall into a friendship where Ramona knows she knows Dylan, but Dylan can't remember that she knows Ramona. And we're following that as the two of them are kind of navigating the past, and hints coming along to reveal to Dylan that, hey, you've maybe met this girl before. So I am enjoying it. It is a fun rom-com-y read. I really enjoy Ashley Herring Blake's characters, so I'm having a great time. The audiobook is well narrated, and I'm just enjoying it. I'm also enjoying seeing April Evans in this one, since I got her post this book story already, and I was curious to see what she was like in this one, because April Evans in this one has a tattoo shop and is an active tattooer, whereas in April Evans, which I have talked about in a previous video, she's not doing that in that book technically, and so it's interesting to see that like transition for her. But yeah, so I am enjoying it. I am listening to it at 2x speed. I basically do all my audiobooks at 2x speed. Sorry if that irritates you. Oh, my stomach just growled. I told you I'm going to lunch. I am actually at lunch, but I'm about to go get food. So yeah, I do listen at 2x speed. Sometimes if I'm listening with Krista, we listen normally. When it's just me, I speed them up. It kind of helps me focus a little bit more and not get as distracted. So I have that on. My workday has been busy and not busy. I was really busy when I got in. We had a long meeting and then I had more stuff I had to do. But it's kind of been a little chill going into lunch, which is nice. But I'm busy today anyway, because I have certain responsibilities on certain days of the week, and today's one of those days, so I'm just busy. But I'm gonna go get food, possibly more coffee. I don't know, I'm really hungry. That's all I can focus on right now, and I have a Taco Bell burrito left over from yesterday, and I'm like, yes. Also, yes, I do eat Taco Bell leftovers, but I will note Taco Bell leftovers are really only good like day of or the next day, and not all leftovers. You cannot eat a Taco Bell taco later in the day or the next day. It's only burritos. Burritos will be okay the next day. Anything else? No. Hot no. Cold no. I don't know why I said that. I think I meant to say hard no. Oh my gosh, I'm hungry and a little loopy. I'm not tired and I should be caffeinated enough, but I'm just like woo today. Like I'm just in a mood. I don't know. But I'm gonna go get food. So I will talk to you later when I finish the book. I'm not going to fill you in before that, because I should finish this by the end of my workday. And then after work, I need to take a shower because I'm getting my tattoo tomorrow. That's like a me thing. I don't know if people do this, but like I desperately want to make sure that I shower the day before, so I don't worry about it day of. And then I don't have to like worry about washing my hair for a little bit, because even though I know it'll be second skinned, I would like to just not worry about taking a shower. So yeah, so I'm taking a shower after work, and Krista has court, so I'm just gonna be hanging out with the pups. So I gotta go. Talk to you later. So hungry. Sorry if I'm super extra weird. And I know, my makeup gets so smudgy. Hello, Grumbly Nose. It is the end of my workday, and to assist myself, I actually just have the cover of Dream on Ramona Riley right here. Don't know why I could not say that. Can you kind of see it? Sure, there we go. I need it for the thumbnail photo, so I just thought I would use it for this little clip. I have finished Dream on Ramona Riley. It did follow kind of what I thought was gonna happen. So there is the idea of fake dating in this. It is presented at a certain point. And then there is a third act breakup that kind of discusses that a bit, as well as possible casual feelings and possibly making someone feel like you've used them in some capacity. It was a fun time. I always forget, every time, I forget how spicy Ashley Herring Blake books are. I like pop it out of my brain. Like I completely forget every time. And then I read them, we get to a certain point and I'm like, oh yes. So I'm just like awkwardly like, yes indeed, that is what's happening. Somehow reading a spicy scene is less awkward for me than listening to it. And please acknowledge, I think some of it is because I'm listening to it while I am working, and while I work in my own home and no one can hear what's happening here, I still am like, okay, yep. Now they are well written scenes, mind you. There are also some content warning stuff at the beginning. I think they might also mention bits of the sex scenes. Normally Blake is very clear on what you can expect in the book. I just completely forgot. I just always go into them and I'm like, yes, good book. And I'm like not thinking about it, and then it's boom. It's a little bit like reading the Dream Harbor books where I'm like not really thinking about it, and then there's like a very wild scene and I'm like, oh right, that's gonna happen. This was far spicier than Daisy Chain Flower Shop, just for preference if you're looking for spice. But it it was good. There was a lot of character growth on both sides. We also do get a plot involving Olive, who is Ramona's younger sister, who she has basically raised. And that plot felt very important, also in part for Ramona's growth, but really just to cement her sister as like a character a bit. Olive does show up in the next one. I don't know that how any of these characters are going to fit into the third one, because the third one, I feel like it's set. There has to be a way that they're fitting in. I'm just not sure, because there's normally like appearances from the characters. But I did very much enjoy it. Spice level was high. Characters were fun. And I liked seeing Ramona and April more in this one as friends. Ramona is not as much in April's book because she's been so busy with things that will be spoilers if I tell you. So there's just like stuff keeping them from spending time together. And in this, they're spending a lot of time together because they're both still in like the same place and able to interact more frequently. But it was very good. I very much liked it. I also am now on to the next book. So be prepared for genre whiplash, sort of. The next book in this vlog is Yesteryear by Caro Claire Burke. And Yesteryear is taking, I feel like, just I'm trying to think of, I feel like it's not exactly like book communities that I interact with. It's not really taking them by storm, but I feel like when discussions of books are coming up anywhere in like general media, it's about this book. It'll be like Yesteryear and Tradwives and Yesteryear and Tradwives, and Yesteryear is like the leading point in everything I've seen. Predominantly because apparently Anne Hathaway has optioned the book already so that she can star in an adaptation. And what's interesting to me, so this got mentioned, so Gabby from Gabby Reads It All did like an adaptations video and mentioned that this was coming out and that it was optioned before release. And this reminded me of what baffled me with Delicate Condition. So Ryan Murphy decided to do a season of American Horror Story, which I used to watch all the time, called Delicate. And Delicate was inspired, well, it was supposed to be an adaptation of the book Delicate Condition. And the only way that could have worked is if he optioned that book very early in the publishing process, because the book released like the same year as the show. So I think it was about, it was the same kind of setup. I could be wrong. I don't follow adaptation news very frequently. But I remember being wildly confused. And I will say, I absolutely detested the American Horror Story season of Delicate, like that Delicate season. I watched one episode and I was like, I can't do this. Delicate Condition, the book, is an interesting time. I would recommend it, especially if you like Rosemary's Baby kind of stories. As an aside, it's just like when Gabby was like, it was optioned before release, and I was like, I feel like that happened with Delicate Condition too, because I was like, I swear to God, that's how that worked. But moving on, I mean back to, I guess, Yesteryear. All you need to know in this, I think everyone knows this already, so I'm probably not telling you anything new, but Yesteryear follows a tradwife who finds herself transported back in time to the late 1800s. Humorously for me, I just like, as soon as people were like, transported back, I was like, okay, but I was like, couldn't we just dropped her on like a Mormon farm? Mormon? Amish? I meant Amish farm. Someone, I feel like this also came up. The reason I say Mormon is I swear there was like a video that was like, Mormons react to Yesteryear. I feel like everyone and their mother has had something with Yesteryear in it on my feed somewhere. So I'm just getting confused. But also I was like, couldn't you just put her on an Amish farm? I don't know what the plot of this is entirely, except for the whole like, back into what seems to be the 1880s or something. And I was like, yes, but the Amish. You could just go live with the Amish. I lived across the street from the Amish. You could go live with them. I'm sure it's about the same. But it's my own thing. I'm not going to write a book where a woman goes to live on an Amish. It's not happening. But I am curious to see, because the way it has been brought up, a number of people have very differing opinions on this book. And for some bizarre reason, for me specifically, I keep thinking that this book is going to be like a book I read as a teenager, where I cannot remember the title of it. I believe it was by Margaret Peterson Haddix, I think. Don't take my word on that. And it was not the books about the children that were hidden. That was a series that she wrote, where like there was a quota on children you could have and you had to hide. Anyway, I forget the name of that series too. Told you, I suck at series names. But I swear she wrote a book that like involved, in theory, people living in a time period, but they weren't exactly. It was much like The Village, that book, if that makes sense. Slightly. It was slightly like The Village. Anyway, so I don't know. I'm going into Yesteryear with a lot of weird thoughts. Like, is this going to remind me of that book from my childhood? Am I going to be transported to a time myself? Like, I don't know. Also, I swear to you, I can tell I'm giving very weird energy today, and I don't know why. I don't know if I'm like over caffeinated, I don't know. Truly no idea. But I just like, I feel very spastic. But yeah, so we're going into Yesteryear, which is not a romance novel. I'm very sure this is the anti-romance novel. But I will be reading this, possibly starting it tonight. I'm not sure for certain. I'm just pushing. How interesting. But yeah, so I'm starting this probably a little bit tonight. And then I'll give you thoughts when I have them, possibly tomorrow morning, possibly tomorrow afternoon, I don't know. But I am going to start it. I may or may not include another book in this video depending on how quickly I read this one or how I feel about this one when I'm done. Sometimes if we'll just see. We'll see if I need a book immediately after this, depending on my thoughts. So yeah, but get ready for thoughts on Yesteryear because I am curious. I am 1000% sure I'm not going to like it as much as Treadwife by Saratoga Schaefer because that book was incredible. And this is not in the same vein. So I just know going into this that I feel like I personally am probably going to be let down. But we're going to try and be positive and assume I will love it. That's just a feeling I have. But I need to go because I need to take the dogs out. So I will talk to you at some point, probably not tonight because I think I know I need to shower. Probably just gonna read, hang out, and then Krista is just picking up Jersey Mike's. We're gonna split a sub for dinner. But I'm gonna go. I will talk to you probably tomorrow morning. I also have to figure out an outfit tomorrow to wear to go get the tattoo. I feel like I need to wear a t-shirt. Their shop gets very hot. So I have to figure that out. But I'll do that tomorrow morning. You'll see the outfit when you see it. But I must go. So talk to you probably tomorrow, Grumelinos. Hello, Grumelinos. I thought I would update you from the kitchen with Yesteryear, which I am 27 chapters through. I think I'm close to halfway. So in this, I will officially give you some kind of like breakdown summary. We are following Natalie. Natalie, to open the book, we're in technically the present. So we're being shown that Natalie is a basically Treadwife influencer. She does not call herself that, but that is what the internet calls her. She is a Treadwife influencer. She and her husband and their 6 children, I think, 5 born children, and she's pregnant with the 6th, live on a farm that they purchased and renovated. What you need to know here, they did not do that with her influencer money. We get into the fact that there is money, and I'll explain briefly without spoiling too much, but I think you'll guess how there's money. So what we see is her setting up for like a typical day in her life, and we are really getting the behind the scenes of what's going on. Now, the idea, it appears, is that on her actual social media, there is no reference of nannies or a producer, but in real life, she has 2 nannies and a producer who basically gets up before her and sets everything up. On top of that, it doesn't seem like she actually spends a lot of time with her children unless it's for content. And she also doesn't seem to really care about being around her husband, again, unless it's for content. That's what we're kind of set up with. So we meet Natalie in that way. Now, on top of that, we're getting kind of the idea that Natalie thinks in some capacity she is better than other women. Her internal monologue is very consistently like, oh, there are these angry women that watch me, but they actually love me, and they're actually like helping me, and they're actually obsessed with me. And admittedly, there are women who are, we learn, hate commenting on her stuff, and she's like, but they're still watching, they're commenting, they're obsessed with me. And Natalie very much has this idea in her head, at least at this point in her life that other women are jealous of her because she has the farm, she has influencer status, she has a husband, she has kids, like she has like the perfect life, the life she thinks a number of women actually do aspire to, even though they insist they don't. We then do the time jump. We are with Natalie and she wakes up one morning and it is 1855. She appears to be on her same farm, but everything is different. It is older, it's rustic, it's what an 1855 farm would be. Everything's kind of uneven, stuff's falling apart, and while her children kind of look like the children she knows, they're different. There is Maeve, who's a little girl. There is, oh, they almost never say the other daughter's name and then they start saying it, and now I'm not gonna remember it. There is another daughter. We get her name. And she reminds her of her daughter, Clementine. Now, going into this past jump, she and Clementine were butting heads. So there is this like very intense rift between the variation on Clementine, I'm going to say because I can't remember her name, and Natalie in 1855. There are also two boys similar to her two boys, and then her husband, but she says the husband here looks like Caleb, her actual husband, but is older. And what's confusing to her is she's actually missing a child. There is a girl that is not there. Like, there's no version of this girl. There's just, she only has 4 kids in this instead of 5. And in the time jump, she is no longer pregnant, and she is very confused. Like, she doesn't, and she's pretty pregnant. It just is an odd thing to include because it's very random and I wasn't expecting it. And then she was like, and now I'm not pregnant. So I'm throwing that in there. He is looking at something on the TV. Hold on. Maybe we're good. So I'm just throwing that in there in case that's going to be jarring for someone. I'm just telling you that that's what happens in the shift, because she also does a lot of physical things in the time shift that women who were pregnant at the time would have to do anyway, but would be very difficult, I think, for her to accomplish. So I think it's more of a writing choice. So I'm just throwing that out for you. They're also like in the section where we're in 1855, because that section is the largest. It's listed as the past and it's huge. It's most of the chapters of the book. We're also getting a look at Natalie before she met Caleb. Now, we don't go super far back. We get a little bit of her family, her mom and her sister, and we get a bit of like what she was like as a child, but really we're focusing on college and how college is kind of the moment where Natalie shifted and really changed her focus on what she thought she wanted out of life. And then she met Caleb. Oh, my coffee is ready. And then Caleb, and like who she thought Caleb was, who Caleb actually is. Caleb is from money. So that's all I'm going to get into. Caleb's plot gets very interesting, but Natalie has been doing a lot of work to build her, I'm going to say, fictional tradwife life, because what she is doing is like how her life is in the present is really not like what she's presenting is not really what it is. So a lot of this is like trying to show you, I feel like, the hypocrisy of tradwife content in some capacity, in that she has all of these systems in place where she's barely with her children. She's doing things that actually take a ton of time but are not necessary for her daily survival. And then when she's in the past, she is kind of useless. She is like really struggling, even though she's like, but this is like the stuff I do. And I'm like, yeah, and you have no idea what you're doing. So there is a moment, because I think this came up in some people's things. She does get slapped at a certain point. Not by the present husband, but by her past husband. And while yes, it was jarring for her, and I will say it was not that jarring for me, in that it's 1855 and there are very limited rules or social norms associated with protecting your wife and children from violence. So he is within his right to hit her. So that's horrible to think about, but back then he could have done worse. So I'm just throwing that out there, like her being slapped. Now, if he does something worse, I will be more upset. But like slapping her in the face is a very minor thing a husband could do in 1855 when no one's really monitoring how your wife's doing. So that does happen. And And there's just some very interesting things with Natalie. Really, so far the character seems to me like someone who's grown up in a very strict faith, even though perhaps her life was not the same as everyone else's. We do not actually get what religion she is. Reading it, you would probably think Mormon, just because of location, like Idaho. They were like talking about that area, and that would be Mormonism, but we've never actually said what faith she is. She's been called every faith under the sun by people, so you don't know. I don't know if that's intentional. I am very sure it is intentional by the author that we are not supposed to know the exact faith she is, so that perhaps we're not comparing her to things we already know, but it is feeling a bit like a hodgepodge. Because it feels like she's probably Mormon, but we're not saying that. And I would kind of like a definitive, like, she grew up Mormon, but we're getting like, all the families around us had 8 to 9 children, and, oh, all of our ancestors like went west, which was a thing that the Mormon people did. So like there are things that would make you think Mormonism, and I'm like, I kind of wish you would say. It doesn't super matter, I guess, but I can see where some people would be like, is this like a commentary on Mormonism? Because it feels like a commentary on Mormonism, and it probably is a commentary on Mormonism, but we have not made that clear, as we have called her an evangelical, a Baptist, a Christian, Amish. She's definitely not Amish. I love that people were like, oh, the Amish girl, and I was like, oh, you've never met the Amish. Kudos to you. So yes. Also, there is some like animal death in this, but it's like farm related, so again, it didn't feel bad. It just felt like a thing that was bound to happen because they don't actually know how to run a farm. So I'm just, yeah, so that's where we are. I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna say I am enjoying it, only in that I really do want to know how the heck Natalie is in 1855 or what's going on, because she at some point has determined it's a reality show. Like, she thinks she's on a reality show, and that seems possible but unlikely, solely because of the pregnancy. I feel like the pregnancy thing is really supposed to cement to you like, this is real, and so I am just very curious to see what this actually winds up being. Also, in the opening section, there are like little interview snippet kind of things, which are interesting. And we learned a lot about Natalie and her husband's relationship. So there's a lot there. So yeah, but I need to go. I'm gonna grab my coffee and head upstairs. I just wanted to fill you in so far. My goal is to finish this today because I do, this isn't gonna tell me pages, is it? Oh, yeah, I'm a little under halfway. Like a teeny bit under. I would like to finish this today if at all possible. So I'm gonna try and read before work. I have time. And I'm probably gonna try and read on my lunch break. And I need to charge my battery, so that works out. All right, so I will talk to you later, Gremolinos. Hello, Gremolinos. It is my lunch break. Well, the end of my lunch break, but I finished Yesteryear. I did it. And you know, I have figured out why people don't like this book. Because I don't mind it. I really don't. You need to go into it definitively knowing it is lit fic. Do not think it's horror. Do not think it's sci-fi. It's lit fic. This is lit fic. Please keep that in mind the entire time. Some of the storytelling, once you get to the end, more of the storytelling elements will make sense. And I say that because I did mention there were like interview questions like peppered in oddly, I thought. But it will make sense. It really will. At least in part. So yes. Natalie is our focus, but we are not only following Natalie, we are in part following Caleb, her husband, and I've already mentioned them. The story itself is really drawing into the idea of, I'm going to say, influencer culture and the dangers of performative behavior. And I say performative behavior in that Natalie becomes very fixated on the idea of being a trad wife. So she hates that word, but I'm using it. And so her entire presence online is being a trad wife. And so she is really letting her social media get drawn into elements of her husband's life and allowing what she is doing and what she has decided will be best for her. Again, I want to say Natalie's best for her ideas are very tied into sort of religion she was raised with, an idea of almost like performative motherhood. Actually, it isn't almost, it is performative motherhood. She is presented with the idea of motherhood and being a wife as something you perform, and she really begins to lean into that, especially when her ideologies are challenged in college. And so instead of maybe investigating more of what her roommate is into, her roommate from college also is presented to you consistently because Natalie is fixated on her at a certain point. Like, from the moment they met, she is fixated on her, and she will continue to mention her a lot. And she uses Rena as sort of a counterpoint to herself to kind of make herself feel better, or feel like she is the best version of womanhood and she is better than Rena. So like that is presented a lot. Natalie is not fundamentally a good person. And that is actually presented to us in a myriad of ways. You need to know Natalie is not a good person. Like, as you're reading it, Natalie is not a redeemable person. I will say there are some scenes that I think exist. So I mentioned the slap didn't bother me. The farther into the story, another slap occurs and something else occurs. And I'm going to get into that very broadly. I will say the slap in and of itself, again, I don't feel bothers me probably as much as it will other people. But as you're reading where the person she calls old Caleb slaps her, I truly was like, fine. Like, I just, if what we're examining is life in the 1800s, that's gonna happen. There is another scene with a slap, and there is another physical assault scene that occurs, and in both those situations, it is again out of anger. One feels reactionary and kind of like a, I didn't mean to do that, it just happened. And so I will give that scene some grace. There is another scene though where I was like, whoa, no. And that scene is presented to a couple of times with different, the more you hear of the scene, the worse it is. There is also a scene where Bruni is, I think, barking at turkeys on the television. I'm waiting to see if he chills. Maybe. The mail is also coming. And there are workers at my neighbor's house. Bud, please calm down. Also, if he barks, he hiccups. He has been totally fine, but he hiccuped last night, and so I really don't want him barking because it aggravates, like, his diaphragm, I think. Or I think I was sick. So there is a scene which gets into a very minimal examination of spousal SA. So the scene is presented and Natalie is like, they won't let this happen to me because we're on a show. Because she has gotten this idea in her head during the past scenes, in some parts of it, that she's on a reality show. And she calls it what it is. But as the scene unfolds, she then makes the argument, I think, for, in part, survival, but also this is something that does come up in certain religious organizations and was something considered, I believe, legally at a certain point, that if you are married, any assault is not assault in the bedroom because you are married. Now that is not accurate in any sense, but she does acknowledge that at some point she was at least told spousal assault is not really assault because it's your spouse. And that gets very tricky, and it's very fast. It's very fast, and like acknowledges that she's like aware that like this shouldn't be happening, but then kind of like tells herself it's fine. And like, again, this scene is very quick, and then the scene ends very oddly for me. And from that point forward, that isn't an issue. But also, like, we have been introduced to some interesting choices in other scenes regarding making a baby. Actually, so it's just awkward. Like those scenes are awkward to read. But the book itself feels very much by the end like a sort of cautionary tale, like the internet is a dangerous place, don't believe everything you see or read or experience. And it does examine performing for a certain audience and how if you're performing for a certain audience, even if you don't fully believe those things, are you not allowing that audience to grow, to flourish, to damage others? Also, there is a scene where I got real mad, like extra mad at Natalie, because her mom mentions that someone said the gays are okay and she understands this now, and Natalie's like, what? And I'm like, oh, you were raised in a horrible environment. But also, the gays don't care about you, Natalie. Like, I was just like, the gays don't need your approval. Just throwing that out there. It was, again, very brief. A lot of the things are like very brief. But this is, again, lit fic. And I think depending on who you are, if you're reading this, I feel like some people aren't gonna like this because of Natalie. Natalie is not a character that you should root for, but is an interesting character to examine. I think as a character study, Natalie is fascinating because she does exist. Actual people like Natalie exist. So that was interesting to me. As we continued, and the farther you get in the story, you will see why I'm telling you this is very definitively lit fic, and this is lit fic that is trying to show you the evil influences of the internet in part. But also, I can't say anymore because I feel like I'm going to spoil something, and I also unintentionally feel like I may have spoiled some things when I was discussing books that just the premise of this reminded me of. I did, just because I mentioned it and it was bothering me. That Margaret Peterson Haddock's book that I mentioned, I looked up that book because it was bugging the crap out of me. It is, oh shoot, it's not gonna show up now. I looked up something else. Hold on. Hold on, I was just looking at it. Oh, now my nose is gonna run. Hold on, this should show me. Yes. Okay, so that particular book, the one I was thinking of, is called Running Out of Time. And I won't get into details of that, just know it is a children's literary fiction book that is also technically, but it would technically be literary fiction. Margaret Peterson Haddock wrote a lot of books examining children and what happens to them when adults truly do control everything and don't take them into account. And this is, and I'm not going to get into that any further. But yeah, I think Yesteryear is an interesting read. It is not a book you will read again. Like, once you finish the book, I feel like that's it. Like, you know what happened, like, you understand everything, and that's it. And I do think some people are going to very much enjoy it. I found it interesting as a character study, and then seeing what I did want to know why and how Natalie was experiencing some bizarro timeline. So like that was interesting, but again, it's lit fic. Don't go into this expecting like horror or sci-fi or anything like that. It is billed as lit fic. But yeah, but I don't want to end the vlog with that book. I want to read something else. I'm trying to see what I can get a hold of or what I'm in the mood for. So I have a couple other Libby holds. I don't know that I'm in the mood for either of them right now, but I might just read one of them to knock it off my list. I requested a book that would fit very well with the theme of Yesteryear, but I don't know when that's going to come in. But we might just see if it comes in. I don't know. I'm waffling. I haven't picked a book. Today, though, is tattoo day. So you're going to come with me to get my tattoo. And then maybe I'll have figured out something by then. I don't vlog a ton over the weekend because we're just kind of relaxing, so that does give me time to figure out a book. But I do want to read one more book, I think. So yeah, haven't decided. Will peruse, see what I find. But I'm gonna go. I talked your ear off about this book. But yeah, so get ready to come get tattoos. Well, tattooed. And I will see you there. I'm very close to camera, but gotta go. See you later today. Hello, Gremolinos. It is after tattoos. Well, tattoo. So I'm done. I got my Chloe tattoo. Krista is picking up food. So we were gonna get nuggets, but we actually did like nuggies and fries on Wednesday when she did hers. So we're actually getting Roadhouse steaks. So Krista is picking that up right now. I am gonna warn you, my tattoo is a bit more irritated than Krista's was. I'm very thin-skinned. Like I bruise super easily. My skin can get irritated, and some of this involved a lot of black. So I am a little irritated in a couple of spots, and so you might notice a little bit of like red. I'm fine. It's under second skin, but here's the tattoo. Ta-da! It says Chicken Mom, and it's her nuggie. This is her favorite one, so I got that one tattooed. This is the one she like slept with and played with and was like super invested in. So I really wanted to get this one because it was like the special nuggie. So yeah, I always have it on me. And then Chicken Mom, because that was basically my name the entire time she was recovering. So yeah, I have it. It is healing. It's a little sore. Sorry, the angle's a little goofy. And so the second skin is keeping me from bending my arm a little. And it is, again, a little bit sore. So yeah, we're gonna pick up food and then head home. And then we're gonna do dinner, hang out with pups, all that. But I probably won't vlog anymore today. And then tomorrow we have some like errand stuff to run, so I probably won't bring you for that. Mostly because we are just like running out to pick something up. Maybe I'll vlog a little, I don't know. Is she back? It flashed that hands-free phone was available, which makes me think Krista is coming. So yes, my lovely wife and I are going to eat and probably watch Supernatural. And yeah, and just have a little close celebration night now that we're both officially tattooed. So yeah, I'll see you sometime over the weekend. So we'll chat more. Still don't know what I'm reading next. I have some holds that are requested, and if they come in, I might read one of those. We're just gonna see how things shake out, but I am running to the library tomorrow. I have a ton of stuff to drop off. And then I did put in some holds just to see what would come in. So yeah, I think that's it for now. I will talk to you later, Gremolinos. Hello, Gremolinos. If I sound hoarse or stuffy, it's because I'm sick again. So I was feeling a lot better when I was on those antibiotics, and I thought I was like good. Plus you can't be on antibiotics to get a tattoo, but I was feeling fine. And then Saturday, cause I didn't vlog the entire weekend. Saturday we picked up this seafood boil thing. It was from a new local company. We were trying to be like positive and support a new local business, and it was not worth the money. It's fine, it's fine. Like we had to pre-order it and everything. Like Krista like pre-ordered it like weeks ago. And we picked it up and we were like, this is a lot smaller than your advertisement made it look. And it was very garlicky, which is great for Krista, but I didn't really realize it and until we were like eating it, how much garlic was actually in it. And then I felt awful for the rest of the day. It's like a genetic thing. My dad also has a difficult time processing garlic, and it makes him like bloat and really uncomfortable. And the older I get, the more that happens to me. And so I wound up texting my mom yesterday and mentioned it. She was like, oh, you should take 2 Tums before you eat the garlic thing, and then you should be okay. And I was like, oh, good to know. So I felt awful for the rest of Saturday, and like my stomach was just uncomfortable. I drank a lot of tea. I was also like, my nose was running a lot. I was coughing like as the day went on, and I kind of cough all the time because of my asthma, but like this was different. And like through the night I kept waking up and like coughing, like, and it was gross. Like I'm not gonna get into details, but it was gross. And then Sunday we were debating about going to the mall out of town to do like Barnes & Noble and see the new IKEA and like do all that, but I was miserable. Like I woke up and I felt like garbage. My nose was extra runny. I was coughing a ton, like basically consistently. I'm coughing less today, but my nose is still a little runny off and on. Mostly this side. It's this side. I don't know what it is about that side. But I just like did not feel particularly well. So we canceled that plan. We mostly stayed home. We did, like once I was feeling better in the like late afternoon, we did have to go grocery shopping. Like we absolutely had to go out and grab some stuff. So I went out with Krista to get stuff. And then we came home. I'm gonna take a sip of my coffee because my throat does hurt a little, but it's from the coughing. Like I felt totally fine. And then I started coughing a little. Okay, I'm just using my library mug. Brain. So yeah, I didn't vlog because I didn't feel well. I feel a little better. Like I feel better. I just can tell that I'm still kind of sick. And we're just kind of waiting to see if I feel better. I don't know if like, I'm very sure I was still a little sick. I feel like it's a sinus infection or something that is just like refusing to go away. I don't know. But like I did feel fine when I got the tattoo, or I would have rescheduled again, but I like felt absolutely fine on tattoo day. Like I was totally fine on Friday. I was fine for most of Saturday. Like I don't know what's going on. So yeah, didn't vlog. I am currently in my very hot office. I have a fan behind me, but it's off because I remember it being, you can't really see it, but there's a fan behind me. I turned it off to film this clip because I remember it caused some weird reverb sounds. But it is warm today. It's going to be in the 80s. So I'm just wearing, you can't see them, but I'm wearing my Grogu pajama pants because they're very thin and they have pockets, for when I do outs because Krista is working late today. And then I had a different shirt on, but it was too hot. So I'm going with my Beetlejuice shirt. I did want to cover my arm to protect the tattoo, though it does have second skin on. So like there's like a thing, like I have the thing over this, so like stuff can touch it and it'll be okay. But I was gonna keep it covered, but I'm too hot. So yeah, I'm wearing this. The sleeves are pretty long anyway, so it's kind of covered, sort of. But after explaining to you why I didn't vlog at all and why I might sound a little stuffy, we are on to the final book of the vlog, which is a completely new edition. So I literally Googled influencer horror / thriller books and found like a list of books. And my library didn't really have a lot of them. I did like save one for later that I think I'm gonna read in like July or something. Because again, June is mostly for Pride stuff, though. I did put a hold in for the June Literally Dead book club pick. I don't know why he's barking. It's noisy outside. It's so warm and we live by so many retirees. They're all doing their lawns today. I know they are. Maybe. Also, Bruni and Kira didn't sleep well because our bedroom was so hot and we don't have the AC in yet. Because it seems too early for it. But like they were both hot, Krista and I were hot, and I still didn't feel great. So I had a headache. I took Excedrin actually because I was like, I don't know what this headache is. But anyway, he has stopped. So one of the books on the list that my library did have, like physically, that I could pick up over the weekend was Never Coming Home by Kate Williams. And I have actually read a book by Kate Williams. So there's like a thing in the back showing her books, and I have read The Babysitter's Coven. It was a fun little book. It is very much like Witchy, the Babysitter's Club kind of. But I never finished that series. I think because it was very YA and I just like wasn't super motivated. But this one follows influencers who get invited to an island called Unknown Island. And it's to, they think, promote the island because it's going like public for like vacations and stuff, but really they've been invited because they all have deadly secrets. And that's the synopsis you're getting. There's more on this, but that's all you need to know. It is YA, so I should get through it pretty quickly. But I was just like, I need a different influencer book. And I've been doing my best. So I like explained to the librarian that I read Yesteryear, because I was like kind of explaining why I grabbed this, because it was very random. And I was like, yeah. And I was like explaining it and how I kind of maybe spoiled it a little on accident. So I was like, I'm not telling you anything, but I mean, it was a pretty good book if you want to read it. And that's all I said. But yeah, so Never Coming Home is going to be the last book in this vlog. I should be able to speed through it. I'm hopefully going to read some tonight and during my lunch break a little. But I need to get my fan back on. I'm sweating so much. And I will talk to you later when I have an update on Never Coming Home. There are a set of influencers in this. I'll get into that when I'm reading it. But I think this will be fun. Also, I'm very warm, so it'll feel like a summer vacation, I guess. I hate that it's already warm. It's not even June yet. All right. Talk to you later, Gremolinos. Hi, Gremolinos. I feel like my camera's doing a weird thing, but it's the end of my lunch break and I'm doing a quick check-in kind of thing for Never Coming Home. There are 10 influencers in this, and this book does make it very easy for you to figure out who they are, primarily because there is a cast of characters at the beginning. So the 10 influencers are listed by like what they're most popular on, which app, and like what they do, and then you can cross-reference that as you go. It also shows follower counts, so you can tell who has like the most followers out of everyone, and that is very helpful, mostly because while the author does a pretty solid job of introducing the characters so you could kind of guess what their niche is, there are a lot of names, and in some situations the person is introduced and it doesn't really go immediately into like why they like what they do on the internet. So it is helpful to have that, and I did reference it a lot. I'm a little under halfway through and I am enjoying it. The deadly secrets are definitely that someone has died. So the thing you need to keep in mind is everyone is being accused of something truly awful, and then whatever / whoever is running this island is very much punishing them in kind for what they're being accused of. It is feeling, this is gonna sound so strange, I have never read And Then There Were None, but I feel like the premise of this is a bit And Then There Were None, because someone is obviously doing something. We have no idea if any of the influencers are involved, but someone is obviously doing something, and they're all cut off from Wi-Fi, so they can't like check anything, reach out to anyone. Oh, I'm gonna cough. One sec. It was gonna be a big cough. Actually, I'm gonna take a sip of water. Hold on. So they're all cut off from the internet, and so they can't like message anyone, they can't email anyone, they can't get phone calls, there's no reception. And what's creepy, and I'm going to include this, there is something showcasing a bit of what's going on, and that thing would need internet. So everyone's like, what in the world is going on? So they're all trying to, at this point, survive the island because they have no idea what's going on. And this like very fancy unknown island is actually not great. There's not a lot of food. One of the people is a chef, and he was asked to make breakfast, but they only had the supplies for him to make breakfast. And then after that, it's all like pre-prepared junk food. And then the entire kitchen is full of hummus and tahini. So like the hummus tahini thing is definitely part of a plot point, and I'm not going to get into that, but it like is a reference to something. But then everything else is just like prepared junk food. Like there's no like stuff you would heat up. It's really just like snacks. And so no one really knows what's going on. But it is interesting because we're getting like teases of like what could come, and like you can possibly guess who will get their sort of comeuppance next. So I'm having a fun time. I will say the chapters are a bit long for me. I kind of wish it was broken up into like someone's point of view, then someone's point of view, then someone's point of view, and each of those was a chapter, because each chapter is typically like many people. So you're getting multiple POVs in one chapter, and it's broken by like a line break. I don't know, I hope that holds off. Oh, I'm coughing a lot more. Okay. So yeah, I kind of wish it was broken down into smaller chapters with each person as a chapter, as opposed to multiple people in one chapter, because it's just long. Sorry. But yeah, so I am enjoying it. Just the chapters feel a bit long, and I kind of wish it was laid out a little differently. It is interesting, and you can kind of see some people kind of playing the game a bit, which is curious to see, but it's fun. It's quick. I will definitely finish this tonight, though I do also have some house stuff I have to do after work. So yes, but I'm gonna go because I feel like I'm gonna burp because I'm drinking fizzy water. But I will talk to you when I have finished the book. Dear Grumelinos. Hello Grumelinos. My office was so hot and I had to do some stuff in the kitchen, so I thought I would just close out the video in here. I have finished Never Coming Home, and this was fun. It was a cute feels like the wrong word, but like it's a thriller that does try and distract you, but it is a YA thriller, so it felt like a fun, chill time. And admittedly, all of the characters feel a little bit throwaway. I kind of want to compare it a little bit to like Cabin in the Woods, where like the characters kind of get turned into stereotypes, but we know they're not stereotypes, but they're still being like taken out, and it doesn't, you're not as connected to them as you would be in like a typical movie, because it is playing out as a like stereotypical thriller slash horror movie in that case. But this is a fun time. They do try and trip you up. I was enjoying it. It's super quick. It was interesting because there is an examination of like DMs and your phone and what your phone says about you near the end. I do think it ties up very quickly, and so once you get to the reveal, you can kind of understand maybe why the author wouldn't want to do different points of view per chapter, but we're still getting different points of view technically throughout the book. So I really feel like you could have still done it and included all of the people, and it still would have worked, and it would have made the chapters a little faster, just because these chapters are so long. The book itself is only like 11 chapters, and it's a little over 300 pages, and then like the epilogue is set up a little bit differently, but it's still like, it just feels like if we'd done point of view chapters, you could have like condensed some stuff or maybe done it a bit differently, and you still could have like had a character come upon one of the bodies and be shocked, and it would still work. I feel like maybe that's my preference, but I just feel like if you have so many POVs, I'd rather them get designated chapters than switch in between chapters, just to like condense things, make things a little bit shorter. I also feel like because there were page breaks, and like in some cases there are even like definitive like dots to designate like this is a completely different thing, I think it could have just been different chapters. So while fun, the length of the chapters does make it a little long feeling, even though it is a pretty quick paced. Taking a sip of this. Should I be drinking a cranberry cider? Probably not. But I've had 3 fizzy waters at this point and I don't have any Coke. I'm out of diet soda. So I just grabbed this out of the fridge because it was hot and it was cold. But overall, I did enjoy it. I just think some things could have been handled a little bit differently, and I would have either been more invested in the characters, or if you still wanted me to not be invested because it's kind of like again, a cabin in the woods kind of feel, giving them their own independent chapters, really would love to stop coughing, I just think would have helped move the story along for me. Again, still a fun time. I do think the ending could be shortened a bit. I don't know that I needed all of that. It gets into like this whole like, there's like an interview section / news article, and there's like Reddit threads discussing the island. Really would love to stop coughing. Just would love. But like, I feel like those could have been condensed, or those could have been brought in sooner. I feel like the book near the, like, give me one sec. There we go. I dealt with the tickle. So while the book itself is relatively fast-paced, we get to a certain point where it just feels like we're kind of dragging it out a bit. And I think you could have, at that point, kept everything going. And like given us a very solid like ending. I kind of wish we as a reader had gotten to see some of what is discussed in the epilogue that is not from that person's point of view. Overall, it was a quick read, which is what I was hoping for, and it did really hit that like influencer social media icon thing that I was looking for, especially after Yesteryear and the focus of that being so very firmly on like social media and presentation of self and like perceived behavior, or not, perceived is the wrong word, presented behavior, and all of that. So it did scratch that itch that I was looking for, and it was quick because it was YA. I do think YA thrillers for me, while some of them are fun, I would rather them be horror, and I feel like if you wanted to read something like this, I would almost tell you to read, like if you want something scary that is horror, I would say read David Sodergren's Forgotten Island, because that is also a missing thing. Or if you do want a thriller, Reckless Girls, I think that would also be a fun adult variation on this. But it was a fun quick time. Ended out the vlog, that's what I wanted. And I'm waiting for another social media book to come in. I have a video kind of planned already that's going to take up like the rest of this week. And then after that, I really just need to knock out some books before June. So everything's going to be a little goofy at the end of the month. The next vlog will have a theme, but much like this vlog, the end of the month vlog is going to be just like chaotic books I want to read before June. But I'm gonna go. So like, subscribe, all that jazz. Also on Instagram at ClefGoEverAfter, and I am gonna go relax and cool down because I am still very toasty, especially since for some reason building the litter box was making me so sweaty. It's just a little bit warm. But yeah, so I'm gonna go. I will see you in the next one, Grimelinos. Bye.